For the purpose of this video, we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to go back to the basics that explain our life as nothing else can and offer us the gifts that only faith can offer us. We're talking about our faith, our understanding that we were made for God's life in heaven, that we're here first so that God in His goodness can give us more, to be involved in our own creation, something that we do by growing in the faith and love that makes us more like God, so that we would be able to share His life more richly forever. The idea of God's plan, that God works with us through everything He sends into our lives, knowing how we're going to respond, so that we become the seeds of the people He wants with Him in heaven, that He knows that He can love with all His heart forever. And the idea of the family, that we were meant to be a family, that we're going to share God's life as a family where everyone will be richer for the holiness of each of us. This idea that we were made to be a family explains God's plan as nothing else can when God's plan doesn't make sense otherwise. When a baby dies, most obviously. The simple fact that God's plan does not treat us all equally in earthly terms. The fact that we are here because of human history, us standing on the shoulders of many generations that came before us who didn't have nearly the same opportunity to be holy, happy people the way we do. No, the idea is that the purpose of God's plan is making us the family we're going to be, where everyone belongs, everyone will share fully because everyone did the job that they were given to do. It's because of that that we could also say that we are in this together. If I help you, I help me. If I hurt you, I hurt me. And for this reason, God made us so that we'd have a built-in motive to get together. That's the reason that our life is always richer when we share it, even here. Our faith is stronger when we share it. We have more ability to move the world where it needs to go when we're united. And for this reason, God wants us to be united. He wants us to be a family in faith, one family in faith. But if that's what God wanted, He had to start that family. A family in faith can't happen because we just coincidentally decide that's right. Because you decide to listen to me, or I decide to listen to someone else. No one in this world has a right to speak to someone else in the name of God and rightfully expect that person to listen. Now, only if God sends someone to speak for Him and does something to make sure that we know it's Him, only then do we feel good about being together in one place instead of another, embracing one formula for faith instead of another, acting together in this way instead of another. And that's where Jesus comes in. Sent by God to teach the rest of us that we are all His children, to teach the faith that we are talking about these days, granted in different words, because we've had 2,000 years to think it out, but start us on that road, to live the faith that He taught as richly as He could, ultimately to demonstrate the truth of it and the power of it by giving up His life, and then to make sure that we understood that this is the person that God wants us to listen to. He allowed Jesus to appear in glory to those people that He had chosen for that purpose, on which to found the church that God wants all of us to belong to. We know that that happened for lots of reasons, the main one being that if it didn't happen, then where do we go to be one family in faith? If God didn't do something extraordinary, not just sending Jesus through His plan, but identifying Him as the person He wants us to follow, then who do we follow? How do we be one family in faith? It's also interesting, I think, to notice that the resurrection not only confirmed that Jesus taught the truth, but it confirmed the truth that Jesus taught. If you appear after your death, then obviously we were made for life after this one. If this happened because you gave up your life in love, well, then love is the way. If that had to happen because God the Father didn't give Jesus a better choice except to take it, then I guess God does know what He's doing for what He sends into our life, even if it's a cross. And besides this and other things we might mention, the story of Jesus' life, the person that emerges as we read about it, as we get to know this person in prayer, this speaks to us and says, no, this is God talking to us. And in our next video, I'd like to point out some of the ways that people experience that this is true.